Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Ironman. We're going to get started off with a Reaper task in this video. It's a boss I've never killed before, it's the KBD. I'm going to be trying to do it without any form of anti-fire, because all my best weapons are two-handed, so we're going to see how that goes, I guess. Yeah, the fight isn't too bad with Prey Mage on. It reduces a lot of the damage that you would normally take from the Fire Breath attacks, and my basic strategy here is just to use the Claws of Guthix special attack, and then, use the Vanquish for most of my DPS. I'm definitely eating some food, but this is doable. Yeah, I think I have to admit, whichever one of you said get the Guthix staff, its ability is really good for PVM in the future. I would have to agree. The Guthix staff, you can just notice my accuracy getting slowly better and better throughout the task. But there's our first KBD task done. This is probably one of the lower value tasks in terms of Slayer XP and points. Typically I get more than that. So I won't necessarily take KBD in the future, but I did want to try him out for the first time. Okay, here it is. I was hoping to get this task, DKs again. I must admit, I have to take the L on this one. I mistakenly completely forgot that you can just use the Reaper portal to teleport to your current Reaper assignment, and I canceled some Dagonoth King Reaper tasks in the last episode because I was like, I don't want to run all that way, but it's my Reaper assignment, so I don't have to. Okay, and this is the last kill for our first DKs task. I just spent the whole task safe spotting Rex in a fast spawn instance. Worked pretty well. Time for another Slayer level. This one's going to be a big one as soon as we get this Grotworm kill. Been looking forward to 75 Slayer for a while, so we unlock Gargoyles. And at 75 Slayer, it kind of feels like you've advanced to the next tier of Slayer. Obviously, we're waiting on one more combat level, and then I can start using Daredale. But I'm finally starting to really get into the Slayer. Now, Gargoyles used to have an awesome drop table for Ironman. It's still decent, but pre-mining and smithing rework, they drop all kinds of ores and bars. Now, obviously, they drop stone spirits and salvage, but at least it's going to be a task that has a ton of alks, so it'll just be really good for money. Hey, we got a rare drop. It's a Kurask head. It was kind of it had a blue icon when it appeared on the floor, so I'm guessing that's pretty rare. No idea what you can do with it, though. Just to follow up, what you can do with it is you can either mount it in your house, or you can turn it into a little Kurask pet. But that would probably require doing some minigames, so as cute as the baby Kurask is, I don't think there's much we can do with this one. Okay, I've been waiting for this level a long time. It's finally time for us to get 70 attack. Finally! So this unlocks tier 70 melee, so we now have tier 70 weapons in all three combat styles, which is awesome. And we're even approaching 75 in range. So I finally get a melee weapon upgrade. Not for the Kurask task, obviously. I'm stuck using Leaf-Bladed Spear, but anything else on melee, I am upgraded to Necronium now, which is just going to make things so much better. Just finishing up yet another Reaper task at the DKs. I still haven't started camping these for the Dragon Hatchet or anything. Maybe I should. I should probably do one more kill just to finish out my inventory here, but yeah, I seem to get them fairly often, so maybe I'll just get the Hatchet eventually from Reaper tasks. I'm going to need to start recording every combat level I get for a little bit until we hit 100. I'm not quite there yet, but I started recording in case this 77 HP got us there. Also, this is my first mutated Bloodvelds task. Does anyone else remember back in the day when cannoning these guys was the best Slayer task in the game? Just in terms of raw XP per hour? Okay, this is an important level here, and not just because I'm aiming for 100 combat. Looks like the 75 defense isn't quite going to get us there. But this is a really key level for a bunch of different types of hybrid armor. And also Gano, although it's going to be a while till we have the Slayer level for that. But yeah, as you can see, all the War Priest here. And then it doesn't look like it's listed, but also the armor that we got from May's Quest Caravan. We can also equip that and it upgrades to tier 75 now. So we have a better set of hybrid gear, which means that's going to be our new ranged and magic armor to replace the Ghost Hunter. Well, I feel dumb. I recorded the last couple combat levels, but I didn't record the one that mattered. We just hit 100 combat overall. It was 77 magic that ultimately got us there. I'm sorry, it's early in the morning. This is the first thing I'm doing. I just want to do one Slayer task before I have to head to class, and I missed it. My bad. One thing that I think it is important to bring up and talk about as my combat level is continuing to go up as we hit these milestones is I want to look at the Soul Reaper page on the wiki here really quickly. So these are the tasks that we can currently get from death. So I need to be careful with which ones I continue to unlock and which ones I want to stay, unable for him to assign you. So at my combat level, I can currently do everything from the very first up to 100 combat. So the qualifier here is some require additional things to unlock. So currently, what he can assign me is Giant Mole, KBD, Calfight Queen, haven't had that one yet, Varus Brothers, Jad, also have not had that one yet, Chaos Elemental, Dagonoth Kings, and we cannot be assigned to Corporal Beast because I haven't done Summer's End. So this is one that I definitely do not want to complete the quest until we have the spear and the gear to take on the Corporal Beast. I also cannot be assigned to QBD yet because I don't have 60 summoning, and that's one reason I've been keeping my summoning rather low is I'm just going to have to cancel the task if I get it because we don't have access to antifires. Also, all of these God Wars dungeon bosses, I cannot be assigned them yet because I have not entered God Wars dungeon yet. You have to go talk to the knight outside the entrance and enter the God Wars Center for the first time before you can be assigned to these. And so these are also ones that I want to keep locked for the time being. And then everything above this requires 105, 110, 120 combat, and many of these require group bosses enabled as well. So the ones that I mentioned, as well as Croesus, are currently the only bosses that we can be assigned. So we have a pretty limited list, and we can just about always get a task that we can do every single day without having to cancel tasks at the reduced rate where you get less Reaper points, which is awesome. Okay, I have not done a quest in a while, but my most recent Slayer task is inspiring me to do one. I currently have trolls assigned, and I have tried to kill the mountain trolls up on Death Plateau, but the experience and the drops from those guys is just so awful. It's not worth doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Frenetic Isles, and during the quest I'll kill some trolls, and then after the quest is over, I'll finish up my task on the ice trolls in the Frenetic Isles. Okay, we are going to finish up Frenetic Isles here, and I think even though I really don't want to waste points or skip points or anything, I am probably just going to go ahead. I guess I want strength, probably. Just melee stats, that's what we need. Strength again. Cool. I am probably just going to skip this task, this Trolls task. It's just going to take forever. They're so spread out, and it just takes a while to kill them, and it's terrible XP and stuff. So I'll bite the bullet, and we'll get our first Daredale task here. Okay, we're about to get our first task from Daredale. I think either getting the task or completing it is a hard, or maybe even an elite Karamja Diary requirement. So for real now, here's our first Daredale task. Looks like we could either do Bloodvelds or Grotworms. I'm really close to 75 range, and I really want to unlock it, so I'm going to use Slayer token to do Grotworms. And also I've just done multiple Bloodveld tasks recently, and they're kind of boring. So even with canceling the task, we still have over 500 points. So what I could do with that, what I've been wanting to do with that, is I've wanted to unlock how to add the Charming Imp on my tool belt, just because it's something I use for every single Slayer task. It'll save an inventory space, and it'll prevent me from forgetting it. And then in the future, I'll also want to add the Bone Crusher and the Herbicide, of course. Okay, Charming Imp is now on the tool belt. Looks like it's a permanent change. I didn't realize this must be one of the few things you cannot actually remove from your tool belt, but I'm okay with that. We're never going to want to carry it around anyway. Okay, here's 75 range. Now I have 2 out of the 3 combat styles at 75. Oh, and that's a requirement for Plague's End. I didn't even realize that. So yeah, that's a big one. I just got my first Firewatch task from Daredale. It's tempting to take it, but there is a big difference between killing Firewatch with the Sun Spear and killing Firewatch without the Sun Spear, which we do not currently have. And also it costs a Slayer token. So I think I'm going to go with Calfights. I am tempted though. Okay, it's almost time to get our full Slayer Helm because we just hit 77 Slayer. So we can now kill Desert Strikeworms. This is luck dependent in 2 ways. First of all, getting the task, and second of all, getting the Focus Sight drop. But I have been really lucky with Hexcrest though. I have 3 of these guys, and I got them in 2 Jungle Strikeworm tasks. So hopefully my luck there holds up. Okay, I'm finishing up another Dagonoth King's task here. I had 16 kills, so it's actually a fairly significant one. And I have been banking all the bones. I just used the War's Retreat teleport, and then I used the Reaper portal to get straight back here. So I've been able to bank all these Dagonoth bones, which is great because I need the prayer XP. Okay, so I've just been quietly doing Jack of Trades 3 times a day, every day in the background. We haven't really checked in on progress in a while, but we're about to do that here because this is my final book I'm going to put into agility, at least for the time being, and that's because we're going to hit 77 agility. Now I only needed 75 to have the requirement for Plague's End, but I wanted to get 77 for 2 reasons. One, it's the requirement for ROTM, which I'll want to do eventually, and second, it's the requirement for the Heffen agility course. Which is the first agility course where I'm actually willing to entertain the idea of training agility on it because it's not too bad. So now we can start putting our bucks into Herblore and our penguin points and all of our other various forms of free XP. So it's time to get some Herblore progress done here. This is 70, and yes, I had 65 Herblore in the last clip. Most of this XP came from cashing in a couple weeks worth of penguin points, but I've also been making some potions as well. And here is my new Herblore tab. I'm not really into bank organization. I guess, I haven't really showed off my bank a whole lot. Most of it is just a mess. But the one tab I do always like organizing is the Herblore tab. It just makes things a lot more functional, and when you deposit a bunch of partially drank potions from your inventory, it's nice to have them all just go into their designated spots rather than having to organize them. So this is just a starter. Obviously, I'm missing a lot of potions that we'll be able to make as we get higher Herblore levels. And also some of these will be replaced. Like I'll probably eventually swap out the super attacks, defenses, and antifires with like the extreme versions of these potions. But yeah, this is kind of a template. So it's time for a hunter check-in. I'm catching the next tier of whirligigs/scarabs, the hasty ones, and I'm about to get 72 hunter here, which is the level that we could go take a break and get the enhanced Yaktoy stick from Charm Sprites. However, it's only a 2% hunter XP boost, and it takes a long time to get. And also, I just tracked my XP for half an hour, because this method is very click intensive and it's not very fun. And I was like, I know that the wiki is listing pretty insane XP rates for catching these things, but I just wanted to try it out myself. And in a half an hour of hunter, I got 142k XP, so about 285k XP an hour. That's pretty insane, considering like every other hunter method around level 70 hunter is like maybe 100k XP an hour, and these scarabs are almost 3 times that. So they're definitely worth doing, even though they are click intensive and require a lot of focus. Okay, I've reached my goal of hunter at least at these scarabs, and that's 75. So you may notice, if I pull open the quest requirements here for Lord of Vampirum, we actually need 76 hunter, not 75. But I'm going to be done with scarabs for the moment because there's something else I want to do to gain this last hunter level. So of course the reason that I was excited to get 75 hunter and stop doing scarabs was for Big Game Hunter. So Big Game Hunter is the minigame/activity that you can do at 75 plus hunter. The higher level dinosaurs require a higher hunter level, obviously, to hunt them, but the very first tier of dinosaurs only requires 75, and this is just footage of my first kill. So it seems relatively straightforward. The main unideal thing is I only have access to regular surge at the moment. I don't have bladed dive unlocked, and I also don't have invention, so I don't have any way to put perks on any of my equipment to reduce cooldown of surge or mobility skills or anything like that. So it's still manageable though with careful positioning and not being too risky when it comes to like diving into the dinosaur's line of sight. If the dinosaur's line of sight turns red for too long, he sees you and you fail the encounter. So you just have to be careful you can still enter his line of sight momentarily to run through or something, and he won't see you immediately, but you just can't stay in there for too long, and that's why it's important to have surge to get out of there. So the XP in Big Game Hunter isn't insanely amazing hunter XP. I think for this first tier of dinosaurs, it's only around 100k XP an hour or so, and also you can't just continuously hunt them because eventually there's a cooldown. But the rewards are pretty good. Obviously, there's the Dragon Matic, and that one isn't crazy rare, so we'll get one sooner or later. And then also you can start to work towards the Pterosaur Maul, and there's also a ranged blowpipe thing. I'm not really sure how good it is. I haven't looked into it, but it's a tier 87 weapon, so it's probably pretty decent. Okay, let's skin this Arcanopodosaur and check out the loot. I don't actually know what you get, other than I know there is a 1 in 100 chance for a Dragon Matic. We got some dinosaur bones. I'm not sure what the dinosaur hide is from, and then our loot itself is the blue dragon hide and then the next tier of meat. And this specific one is used to hunt the Asiatops, which is a dinosaur that you need 85 hunter to hunt, but I can also just store it in my bait box for now because we'll use it someday. And then these dinosaur bones are pretty sweet because when used on a gilded altar with the burners lit, they give almost 600 prayer XP each, so in the long run, storing up a bunch of these are going to be a lot of prayer. And when I first unlocked the Big Game Hunter thing, I wasn't aware of the cooldown timer. You can only hunt about 5 of these dinosaurs per hour before they go into cooldown for an hour, and I don't have the fishing level to get any bait other than for this specific dinosaur, so I'll only be able to hunt a couple of them, so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to train straight on this dinosaur to 76 hunter for the quest. So I may either have to do it over the course of a few different days, or I may just go back to hunting the scarabs and grind out 7600 that way. But either way, I'm going to leave that for future me to worry about, because I have midterms coming up this week, and I really need to start doing some AFK skilling so I can study. As always, check out the description of this video. It has my friends chat down in there, and you can join and hang out. It's under my main account's name and YouTube channel's name, munclesonkey, not under Dinomancy, this account's name, so don't join that one. I haven't even set it up or anything. And I also have a link to my second channel where me and one of my friends talk about basketball in the NBA season if you are interested in that. But that's all for me this time, and I will see you all next video. Thank you so much for watching, and until then, goodbye.